All right, welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into one of the big ones, a real giant of literature, Leo Tolstoy's War and Peace. You've heard of it, right? It's that book everyone knows about, but let's be honest, very few of us have actually managed to get through. So that's what we're going to do today. We're going to demystify it. I mean, let's face it, this book has a reputation. You hear War and Peace, and you probably think intimidating, impossible, a total slog. So the big question we're asking is that fair? Could this supposedly difficult book actually be a page-turner? Okay, so let's get the big one out of the way first. The size. We're talking over 1,300 pages, and usually in teeny tiny print. I mean, to put that into perspective for you, that's like reading all 6 of Jane Austen's major novels, one after the other. It's a lot, a serious commitment, for sure. And what's so funny is that even Tolstoy himself had no idea what to call it. When people asked him, is it a novel, a history book, he basically just shrugged and said, it is what it is. That alone tells you just how much he was breaking the mold back then. Okay, so let's dig into that a little deeper. Why exactly is this book seen as this, literary Mount Everest? Because it's not just about the number of pages. Yeah, it's a perfect storm, really. You've got the insane length, a massive cast of characters with these, super long and complicated Russian names that are hard to keep track of. And then on top of all that, Tolstoy loves to just pause the story for these long philosophical chapters where he goes on and on about war and history and free will. But here's the thing. If you can get past all of that, if you can push through that intimidating wall, what you find at the heart of this book is actually something surprisingly familiar and, honestly, deeply engaging. Because what this book really is at its core is a huge, sprawling, kind of soapy drama. It's all about the love affairs, the scandals, the family drama happening among these super rich Russian aristocrats. Seriously, you should think of it less like a stuffy history book and more like a prestige HBO series. It's got all that good stuff. A great way to think about it is to compare it to Jane Austen, right? She was writing about the same kind of people during the exact same war. But here's the crucial difference. In an Austen novel, the war is this thing that happens off-screen. The men go away to fight, but we don't really see it. Tolstoy? Oh no. He throws you right into the mud and chaos of the battlefield. You see the war, and you see how it completely changes everyone and everything. And that's why the book feels so huge, and that's why Tolstoy couldn't put a label on it. He was trying something totally new. He was mashing up as many genres as he possibly could into one story. It's a war drama, it's historical fiction, it's a romance, it's a family saga, and it's a deep philosophical essay, all at the same time. All right, so let's talk about that philosophical part, the bit that trips a lot of people up. Because it's here that Tolstoy builds his really radical, mind-bending theory of everything. So Tolstoy's big idea is this. He thinks historians are totally wrong about how history works. He argues that history isn't driven by the big, grand decisions of great men like Napoleon. Nope. He says it's actually this huge, unpredictable wave made up of the sum total of millions and millions of tiny choices made by regular, everyday people. And to explain this, he uses an analogy that was way ahead of its time. He doesn't look to kings or generals to explain history. He looks to calculus. Okay, so stick with me here. It's actually a brilliant metaphor. Tolstoy says that trying to understand history by only looking at a guy like Napoleon is like trying to understand a movie by looking at just a few random screenshots. You completely miss the flow, the movement, the thing that connects it all. So he says, the only way to really get history is to do what calculus does with integration. You have to add up an infinite number of tiny, tiny little pieces, in this case, the individual choices and actions of every single person, to finally see the whole continuous picture. So, after all that, the drama, the war, the philosophy, we're back to the big question, should you read it? And the honest answer is, it really depends on what you're looking for in a book. If you're someone who loves getting lost in deep character studies, and you find it fascinating to see how tiny personal stories get caught up in these massive historical events, then yeah, you'll probably love it. But you have to go in knowing, this is a marathon, not a sprint, absolutely. Because at the end of the day, reading War and Peace isn't just checking a book off a list. It's an experience. People describe it as a kind of literary pilgrimage. It's a huge commitment, yeah, but finishing it gives you this incredible sense of accomplishment. And it might just change how you think about stories altogether.
So we'll leave you with the question at the very heart of this massive book, a question that really did change the way we think about history. What if our world, what if our entire history, isn't the story of a few powerful people making big decisions, but the sum of countless, tiny, seemingly insignificant choices made by all of us?